Are we live?
Not yet. Just a minute. And we are live.
Okay, so Shiva, you link share कर दो ग्रुप्स पे. Okay, start करते हैं तब.
I guess we can start now.
Okay, hi everyone from 2021 batch. Welcome to the first quiz of Grand Quizzing Week 22. So this is going to be a general quiz, and this is the preliminary round. The top 8 teams from this round will move into the finals, which will be held today later in the evening. तो सबके पास I think Google form गया है. You need to fill the answers in the Google form. There are 20 blanks in that form. There will be 20 questions in this quiz. Make sure you fill the form simultaneously as the quiz goes on. Don't fill the form at the end. We won't give you time to fill it at the end. Also, please don't use any unfair means. We have put in a lot of effort to prepare this quiz, so please play fairly. If you try to Google your way through this quiz, we will know because there are lots of trap questions in the prelims, and they are designed to throw out weird answers if you try to Google them. So all the best, everyone, and we'll start with the prelim shortly. Try एक बार PPT share कर दे.
Just a minute. Okay, I hope my screen is visible.
हाँ, full screen कर दे.
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah. And I think we're good to go.
Okay, Aniket, you can take over.
Okay, thank you, sir. And okay, so welcome everyone. So this is the first edition of the Grand Quizzing Week that we have planned for you, and this is a general quiz. So I, Aniket Kumar Singh, welcome you in this quiz. I am the quiz master here. So now I will present the set of questions. I'll read it for you, and all you have to do is just fill the form and submit it at the end. And if you are good to go, then by the permission we can start it. So sir, should we start the quiz?
Start कर दो.
Okay then. Okay, so sir, please move to the slide number 1, question number 1. So this is the beloved 2K17 batch, and this whole set is dedicated to them. And with these words, we are likely to begin. So next slide, please, sir. Okay, so question number 1 is a Karnataka-based healthcare company launched a product while back those active ingredient is acetaminophen and is used to treat many conditions such as headaches, body aches, toothaches, and the common cold. So what is the crackable thing here, that it is the part of online memes these days due to rising COVID and common cold cases recently. So you have to identify the product. It is a pretty easy question. You have seen it in memes recently, and I guess we can move to the next question shortly. So, okay, so next slide, please, sir. This is the meme, And okay. So the second question goes that the Buddhist literature and Indian epics such as Mahabharata provided the existence of this even before the Mauryan Empire and was called Uttar Path or the Northern Road. It connected the eastern region of India with Central Asia and ancient Greece. So what is its more famous name? So basically you can crack it by the term Northern Road. Okay. So you have read it in your GK books in your school days, and like Uttar Path, and it connects Central Asia to the eastern region of India. So it is pretty capable from here. So if we are good, then we can go to the next question. Okay. So the third question is, after being recognized as one of the world's greatest minds, X was appointed England's Warden of the North, Warden of the Mint. His job was to find and build cases against counterfeiters, and he duked it out with one particularly well-connected counterfeiter named William Chaloner. So X went full on Dirty Harry and bribed crooks for information on Chaloner, and also learned on the wives and mistresses of Chaloner crooked associates for intelligence. So eventually, X gathered enough information to convict Chaloner, who was hanged for his crimes. X did not attend the hanging. So you have to identify X. So you pretty well know X, especially in your like X has been a very popular figure, especially in our school days, and England is a big hint here. So you can easily crack it up from here from the first para. So moving ahead with our fourth question. So okay, so question number 4 goes, one of the origins of the word can be traced to the fact that in ancient Babylon, the bride's father would supply his son-in-law with all the mead he could drink for a month after the wedding. So, however, Merriam-Webster dictionary reports the etymology as from the idea that the first month of the marriage is sweetest. Today, this idea has been synonymous with voyage, a practice which originated from the Indian elite and spread to Europe from there on. So you have to identify the word. Okay. So what is the hint here? That we are talking about wedding, right? First month of the wedding. So from the last para, that this idea is certainly changed in today case of scenario, and it is known by another word, okay, especially in the elite Indian people. So you have to guess that word. Okay, like what happens in that one sweet month after marriage. So you have to identify the word which can be cracked from the given trivia. So I guess we are good, so we can move to the next question. Okay. So question number 5 is, this is a traditional sweet from Palermo and Messina in Sicily. It consists of a round sponge cake moistened with fruit juices or liquor and layered with ricotta cheese, candied peel, and a chocolate or vanilla filling similar to cannoli cream. So the most widely accepted origin of the name of the sweet is from a Arabic word kasa, meaning a bowl that is used to shape the cake. However, most of us know this through a three flavored layer ice cream. Okay, so you have to basically guess what is this, an ice cream whose Arabic origin goes by the term kasa. Okay, so it is pretty crackable. So if we are good, then we can move ahead to the next question. Okay, so we often talk about XY as a collective phrase nowadays, and it is considered to be quintessential part of American history. However, originally the materials uh, X and Y differed, neither of which came from America. So X was coarser, more durable, and of higher quality than Y. It is believed that both of these materials get their names from the places of their origin, while X is believed to be from the Nimes in France, Y is from Genoa in Italy, Genes in French. Okay, So what are X and Y? It is very popular among youths. Okay. And what you have to crack is that X is derived from the Nimes in France, and Y is from Genoa in Italy, which is called Genes in French. So basically, you have to take a guess from here what we are talking, and you have to give both X and Y. Like if you give only X or only Y, then it is not acceptable. We are expecting both of it. So we can move ahead with our next question. So the Lazarus reflex is sometimes observed in brain dead patients, since it is a reflex arc that doesn't involve the brain itself. Hence, the name after Lazarus of Bethany, from whom Jesus of Nazareth revived from the dead. It consists of the patient slowly and briefly raising their arms and then falling back to resemble the folded arms of a mummy. So, what did it inspire in pop culture that is considered cliche nowadays? Okay, so what we are talking about, Lazarus reflex. Okay, and it is observed in brain dead patients. So the first hint here is the brain dead patients. Okay, and the story behind is like Jesus of Nazareth revived from the dead. So basically we are talking about observed in brain dead patient, and Jesus revived from the dead. So connecting these dots, you have to say that what did it inspire in pop culture. It is very cliche these days. So all you have to do is tell me that what thing it inspired, which you can see like very likely in movies or in popular culture. Okay, so it is clearly visual, and it is like cliche these days. Okay, so now we are good to go to the next question. Okay, so there is a visual also given here of a doll, and the question is, this is the rare doll of Queen Elizabeth as a toddler. Her mother didn't approve of this and never gave the royal seal, but now it's in the market for auction. Okay, so what was the reason behind her mother's disapproval? So what we are talking here is, like, this doll of Queen Elizabeth was disapproved by her mother. So a visual has also been given so that you can find that what is the problem with this doll, which her mother found problematic and disapproved it for auction. So hence we have provided a visual from which you can crack that what is the whole problem with this doll. Okay, so enough time has been given to this question. So move ahead to the next question. Okay. So when Albus Dumbledore was being discredited by the Ministry of Magic, he was removed from the Winsegamot and from the International Confederation of Wizards. He told Bill Weasley that he didn't care what did they did to him, as long as they didn't take him off dash. You have to fill in the blank. So a hint could be that it is very popular, especially those who have seen Harry Potter movies. Then they can crack it very easily. Like a certain sequence of this whole thing has been played in the first edition of this movie, and you can crack from the words written here, like Albus Dumbledore, Weasley, and you can definitely take a guess from it. And also I have said that this sequence is shown in the first part of the movie, Philosopher's Stone. So you can take a crack from it. Okay, so moving ahead with the next question. Okay, so Herodotus divided the people who perform a certain activity into three types: those who are innocent of wrongdoing but ignorant of their own vulnerability, those who are mad, those who are overconfident. Now, North Korean leadership might or might not have been aware of Herodotus' reasoning of this particular activity, but North Korea has banned this activity from 17 December 2021 to 27 December 2021. drawing widespread amusement. What activity? And you have to put funda. So basically we are asking that see, first of all, it has been in news in that time, in very recent times, and this entire thing got whole meme lovers go crazy, and it was a subject of many memes and also discussion that how can someone be like so much dictating. So he did something. So basically you have to tell what North Korean leadership, or you may say the leader or the dictator of North Korea, what he did, which has been the center of discussion in the December month. It is it is a like current affair. So you must have seen it, and you can take a guess. So moving ahead with our next question. So Earl was an employee of Johnson and Johnson in Highland Park, New Jersey. His wife frequently cut and burned herself while cooking. Thus, he improvised and came up with the idea of X, which allowed her to dress her wounds without assistance. Earl brought his innovation to his employers, and they saw huge potential in the product. Thus, the company started manufacturing X's, and it soon became a trademark. So, what is the invention X? It is pretty crackable. So, his wife frequently cut and burned herself while cooking. So are reached to the invention. So what is the invention? It is crackable. It is it, like from the first paragraph you can take a guess. And if we are good, then moving ahead to the next question now. Okay, so question number 12 goes, in his maiden address to a joint session of the US Congress, Joe Biden came up with his unusual announcement, which goes like this. After 20 years of American valor and sacrifice, it's time to bring our troops home. Even as we do, we will maintain an over the horizon capability to suppress future threats to the homeland. So, what was Joe Biden talking about that led to massive geopolitical disruption? So, it is very recent thing. It is like it has been part of news for a very long time. And so, what was, you have to basically tell what was the announcement by Joe Biden, which which brought a big geopolitical disruption. So it has been part of news recently, and very popular thing it is. So moving ahead with our next question. So next slide, please. Okay. So next question number 13. This author gave various stories about the origins of his first novel, but the most common account he gave was what he said to the Paris Review in 1974. So basically, he said that he was lying in bed in a four-room apartment on the west side when suddenly this line come to him. Okay, so it was love at first sight. The first time he saw the chaplain, someone fell madly in love with him, and he didn't have the name. The chaplain wasn't necessarily an army chaplain. He could have been a prison chaplain. But as soon as the opening sentence was available, the book began to evolve clearly in his mind. Even most of the particulars, the tone, the form, many of the characters, including some he eventually couldn't use, all of it took place within an hour and half. It got him so excited that he did what the cliche says he is supposed to do. He jumped out of bed and paced the floor. So basically, this is a whole story of how the origin of his first novel. So you have to tell me the name of the author and the book which was adapted into a film of the same name in 1970. So this is basically the origin story, the story written in italics and double quotes. It is basically the origin of his first it's like the origin story of his first novel. So you have to guess the name of the book, or you can say the novel, and the author. So you have to tell me both, and that's how you will get the points. So since it is a long question, so we can give like a little more time. You can take guesses from the story, and it is a very popular book, and the author also. And and another hint which you can crack it from is the year that is mentioned, 1970. So a very popular film also from the same. So from the author and the book, you have to tell me. So I guess we are good with it. So we can move ahead to the next question. Okay, so this is a pretty easy one. In 2018, the West Bengal government decided to observe Rasagolla Day on November 14 to commemorate the first anniversary of Rasagollas getting geographical indication GI tag, which we say as Bengal's Rasagolla. However, November 14th is also recognized as World Dash Day, commemorating the discovery of a hormone in 1921. What international day, very ironically, shares its date with Bengal's Rasagolla Day? So you have to crack it with the irony thing. Okay, so on the same day, Bengal government is celebrating Bengal's Rasagolla Day, and on the same day, like on 14th November, the world recognizes it with some other name. Okay, so you have to basically say that what is the international day by which the world recognizes 14th November, which ironically shares the same timeline, same day with Bengal's Rasagolla Day. So it's a pretty easy one. You if you know that on which international day is on 14 November. So now we can move ahead to the next question. So question number 15 goes like, in August 2021, Amazon rolled out India's first celebrity voice on Alexa. For 149 rupees per year, you can now get a certain Bollywood legend's voice on your Amazon Echo devices. You can listen to stories from his life, motivational quotes, tongue twisters, and a selection of his father's poems. Who is this Bollywood legend who has provided his iconic deep baritone voice to Amazon Alexa? So you have to tell me the Bollywood legend who had given who has such a deep baritone voice, and you can also take hints from the last line like tongue twisters and his father's poem. So you can crack it that who is the Bollywood legend now. So we can move ahead with our next question since it's a pretty easy one. Now next is question number 16. So this is the story goes like in 2018, the parliamentary sessions of the Indian government were affected by sudden appearance of monkeys. So like monkeys disrupted the parliament. This made quite a buzz in the news, and very notorious incidents also happened. MPs got distracted from the sessions, and then several guidelines were also issued by the civic authorities in order to prevent the monkeys from attacking the parliament. Okay, so this was the story. Now, the media houses of the country covered this incident with considerable interest and quoted the incident as X. So this word was a pun on a broadcasting concept of the ruling government. This word was even used by the opposing parties to take a dig at the ruling government. What is X here? So basically, it's a wordplay question. If you do a little wordplay on the base on the whole thing that happened, like monkeys appeared, and from the monkey thing, the the opposition party took a dig at the ruling government. So what could be the thing? Like it also break the news, and it is very funny thing. It is actually a wordplay question. So wordplay question are very crackable. So I guess you can crack it from the very fact that what can be a pun on what can be a pun on a broadcasting concept. So what does a ruling government broadcast on TV or some platforms? You have to just put a wordplay there, and then you will reach to the answer X. So I hope we are good to go. Too much time spent on this question. So moving ahead with our next question. Okay, so question number 17 is, the word X comes from similar sounding term meaning 40 days, used in the Venetian language in the 14th and 15th centuries, and also in France. The word is designated in the period during ships used to arrive on different shores and then follow an isolation practice. The X followed the Tarentino period, first imposed in 1347 in the Republic of Ragusa, Dalmatia. So you have to identify the word X, and it is pretty easy. It's like it's a whole thing that we are living in. So the whole word X comes from a term which literally means 40 days. So it is very crackable from the current scenario that we are living in. You can take a hint from there and you can tell us the word X. This is what we need. So moving ahead with our next question. Okay, so this war was fought over a decade after the circumstances leading to the dispute started. At the time of the first industrial revolution, an anarchic mob demolished a sweet shop, focus on the thing sweet shop, in the coastal state, Veracruz. Years later, a Gallic army showed up in Mexico to demand a 90% borrowing rate from the shop owner, but he refused. This shop owner's complaint was ignored by the Mexicans, so he turned to French for help, and this information agitated King Louis Philippe. The French blocked the trade routes, and gradually the instability led to Mexico declaring a war, due to which they had to face repercussions and were ultimately eradicated by the French troops. This war has lasting impact on the Mexicans. You have to basically name the war. Okay. And so a hint that can be given to war, that the name of this war, okay, the name of this war is somehow related to the sweet shop thing that I said to focus on in the third line. The sweet shop thing, that was demolished by an anarchic mob, goes by the name. And what pizza is to, like what pizza is to Italy, this is what the name of this war is to French. This sweet thing is related to France. Okay, so this is a big hint actually. You can take a crack from it, and I guess we are good with it, so we can move ahead to the next question. So now question number 19 is, the two moons of Mars, Phobos and Deimos, were described in 18 were discovered in 1877 by astronomer Asaph Hill. However, the existence of its moon were predicted in a novel from around 150 years before the actual discovery, where the astronomers of a flying island are described as having discovered two satellites of Mars. Later, a crater on Deimos was also named after the author to honor him. So you have to tell me which novel is this. Okay, so you can take a hint that I can give is okay. What we can see that this novel, that you pretty well know this novel. Okay, so this novel is very popular among like students. We have known it since our school days, and it is very famous among us. So like you can crack it from here. So we can move ahead to the next question. So the question number 20 goes like, the word X, which means wild, uncontrollable behavior, comes from the names of Norse warriors who were believed to have fought in a trance-like uncontrollable fury. This characteristic of these warriors later evolved into this wild and frenzied word. So you have to identify the word. The whole literal meaning of this word is wild and frenzied. You can crack it from here. The second hint I can give, that word X also shares a name with a very popular anime. So don't go actually. Don't go with you can also go with the Norse warriors thing. There is also a Norse warrior who goes by this name. Anime also goes by this name, and the literal meaning of this word is wild and frenzied. So this was the 20th question, and this was actually the last question. So before we move on to the answer slide, we will rerun the whole set, okay? Because maybe some of you have missed some of the questions, or maybe some question I went too fast on that. So we will rerun for you people, and this will be very quick, okay? We will not give enough time because of obvious reasons we know, And I request you to please I request sir to please rerun the slides from in backward order, and it will be very slow. And once we complete it, we will give you a little, like 2 to 3 minutes, to fill your Google form completely. You will submit that, and and once we close the Google form, once you all submit it and we close the Google form, then we will move on to the answer slide. So before moving to the answer slide, let's do a quick recap of our full complete quiz. So moving on to the 19th question. So you have to basically tell me the novel. It is a very popular novel you have read in your school time. So not to talk much about it, moving on to the 18th question. 18th question. So moving on to the 18th question. Okay, so this question, you have to name the war that we are talking about, which was started from demolishing a sweet shop, and it turned into a whole mega war. So you have to name the war, and the name of the war that I hinted that time also. It goes by some sweet thing, okay? And what pizza is to Italy is what that thing is to France. So moving on to the 17th question. So you have to tell me the word here, that which word I am talking. This is a pretty easy question, and this is the whole. This word has, ruined your ears till now. You keep hearing it in this scenario, especially after 2020. So you have to tell me which word is derived from this. The Tarantino period, first imposed in 1347. So moving ahead to the 16th question. So you have to do a wordplay on the thing, the appearance of monkey in parliament. So it is a wordplay question. And what jibe can be taken by the opposition on a certain thing that is broadcasted by the government, which is of no use, like for the opposition parties. The opposition party keep whining about that thing that is broadcasted by the ruling government, and it takes its wordplay from the mishap that was created by the monkeys. So you have to crack it from there. So moving ahead to the 15th question. So in August 2021, you have a celebrity voice was featured on Amazon's Alexa, and pretty much things is already said in the question. This Bollywood legend has has a very iconic deep voice, and motivational quotes, tongue twister, and selection of his father poem. So these are pretty things which you can crack up. So moving on to the 14th question. So this is a question. This is an irony question. So Bengal's Rosogola Day and that World Dash Day is also celebrated on 14th November. So these two things are quite opposite, but they share the same date. So you have to tell me which international day are we talking about, and it got GI tag on 14 November in 2018. So you have to tell me what we are talking. So moving on to the 13th question. Okay, so this you have to tell me that this entire whole story that is written in double quotes and italics is from it is like of what novel, and who is the author of whose origin story is written here. So I've already told enough about that question. I have given you time also in the previous time when I showed it. So we can move ahead to the next question number 12. This is a excerpt from the Joe Biden's speech, which talks about after 20 years of American valor and sacrifice, so they brought their troops home after 20 years of sacrifices. So what is the whole thing that is Biden talking about in this geopolitical disruption? You have to tell us. So this is pretty easy thing. So we can move ahead to the 11th question. So Earl was an employee, and what was his invention, which was inspired from the fact that his wife frequently cut and burned herself while cooking. So what is that invention that even today helps us when we get encountered by such situations? So you can take a crack from it. So moving on to the 10th question. So it is North Korean leadership has like this is a thing of Herodotus that is given previously in the question. So moving ahead to question number 11.
Okay, it seems Aniket has some kind of network issues. So I'll take over from here. So in this question, you have to uh, state what activity was banned by the North Korean leadership. Can we go back to the previous question?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry for the network issue I just had. So we can move ahead to question number 9.
Okay.
Okay, so when Albus Dumbledore, so basically it is a like anybody who has seen Harry Potter can crack it. Like I have given enough hints. Albus Dumbledore, Weasley, and I also mentioned about the first part of Harry Potter movie. So you can crack it from here. That what is the whole thing that we are talking about? That he told Bill Weasley that he didn't care what they did to him as long as they didn't take him off dash. So from what thing that he said that he didn't take him off. So moving ahead to question number 9. Question number 8, sorry. So you have to, it's a visual question. You can look at the doll and you have to say that what is the whole thing, what is the whole problematic thing about this doll, which was disapproved by the mother of Queen Elizabeth. You can see the picture, and if you find something problematic in it, that is the whole answer. You have to take a guess. And moving ahead to question number 7 now. So this is a question of Lazarus reflex, which is sometimes observed in brain dead patients. So we are talking about something that is very popular in today's culture, so much popular that is actually a cliche these days. And it is the name after Lazarus of Bethany from Jesus of Nazareth, revived from the death. This is a big hint which is already given in the question. So what did it inspire in popular culture? Okay, so you have seen it in many movies. You have to tell me what we are talking about. And question number 6, moving ahead to question number 6 now. So basically, you have to tell me XY. X is derived from the Nimes in France, and Y is from Genoa in Italy, which is also called Janus in French. So moving ahead to next question, question number 5. So this is a traditional sweet from Palermo. So basically, the Arabic word has already been given here. That is casa. Okay, and it is a ice cream by which it is known today. So you have to tell us that. So moving ahead to question number 4 now. So you have to tell me which word are we talking about that is very, very popular among elites and also in like kids these days. And an excerpt has also been given that the idea that the first month of the marriage is sweetest. So what happens actually in the first month of marriage? This is the whole crack. Moving ahead to question number 3. So this is the whole thing of this is you have to tell me who is X, who was appointed England's warden of the mint. So basically the big hint is he's from England. And I also mentioned that he was a subject of nightmare in our school days. So you can take a crack from there also. Now question number 2. Let's moving to that. So Buddhist literature mentions it as Uttar Path or the Northern Road. So it is also very popular in our school books. Which Northern Road am I talking about? Which is like connecting Eastern region to Central Asia. So you have to take the name of this, the famous name of this road. So moving to question number 1. So this is a very popular thing going on these days. You have to identify what is this Karnataka based lab manufacturing that is a subject of meme these days, very, very popular among today's people. So, and in these days also. So now let's move to the first slide, like the welcome like let's yes, okay, this slide is good. So now you will be given little time. Now I request Anirban sir to take the lead now and tell them.
Okay, you guys have 2 minutes. You have till 6:14 to submit your forms. We will be closing the form exactly at 6:14 and won't be accepting any more submissions after that. So please submit your form quickly. We'll be waiting for you. One minute to go.
Yes, everyone, the form is, and once the time is over and the form is closed, your responses won't be recorded. So the whole time is spending here on the quiz will be lost. So please fill it ASAP.
Okay, we'll be closing the form in 30 seconds. Please submit your answers quickly. All right, so the Google form is now closed. We'll go through the answers shortly. Okay, we'll be going through the answers now, and the live chat is now on. You can write your answers in the live chat. So Aniket, please go through the answers.
Okay, I request to Surya sir to take the slide to the last one, and then we will start the answer round. Okay. So hope we are really hoping that you enjoyed the whole set, and let's see. Let's see what are the answers to the all the questions that we talked till now. So moving on to the first question. So you can take the guesses now in the comment sections also. So this is the product that we were talking about in this question, produced by the Karnataka based healthcare company, which is called Micro Labs, is actually, let's present the answer slide. is actually paracetamol's Dolo 650. So what we were looking for is Dolo 650. It is a part of memes, very you can see it in memes these days a lot. So moving on to the next question. So the Buddhist literature thing that we were talking about, the Northern Road, and I also told that we have read it in our school books. This is actually, let's move to the answer slide. This is actually Grand Trunk Road. So the GT Road is what we were looking for, and we are also told that it is like connecting the eastern side to the Central Asia. So yes, we were looking for GT Road, Grand Trunk Road. So moving on to the next question. So England's Warden of the Mint, I also mentioned a hint that he was a nightmare in our school days. So I would have, if I told JE days, then it would have been a very much crackable from there. So yes, I was talking about. Let's move to the answer slide. Isaac Newton. So he was the England's Warden of the North, Warden of the Mint. So now moving on to the next question. So now this thing, the idea that the first month of the marriage is sweetest, a thing among the elite, which we keep hearing from in the movies or in the pop culture or among the people. This thing is, let's move to the answer slide. It is honeymoon. So what we needed is honeymoon in from you. So moving on to the next question. A traditional sweet from Palermo. So the Arabic word that was given in the question was kasa, and I was talking about an ice cream. So kasa ice cream. Okay, so what can be the answer? Let's see the answer. So this is kasata ice cream. So you may have heard it in some YouTube videos or some from your elite friends. They may be eating it. So moving on to the next question. So this is also a very crackable question. All the questions that we have kept till now, you have seen that they are crackable. So the X, which is derived from the names. Okay, so now you can crack. You can crack. Y from Genoa, which is jeans in France, in French. So what could be the answer? The answer is denim is X and Y is jeans. So the next question it goes by question number 7. Let's move to it. Lazarus Reflex and brain dead patient. So what we are talking about was reviving from the dead. So what is the thing that revives from the dead you see in the movies? So the thing is in the next slide. So this is basically zombies walking with their hands raised. This is what we were looking for. So moving on to the next question. So when you look at the doll, you will find that something is problematic about it that her mother disapproved of. So the thing that is problematic is presented in the next slide. So moving on, it is the doll. The doll made look Queen Elizabeth too chubby. So Queen Elizabeth in this doll was looking very chubby, and this made her mother, she disapproved it because of this fact. So moving on to the next question. So Albus Dumbledore and Bill Weasley thing, and I told that you have seen it in Philosopher's Stone. This is the whole thing that happens in the train in the beginning of the movie. The thing is in the next slide. So what we were talking about is the chocolate frog, in which you have seen Dumbledore in the very first scene, like in the very beginning of Philosopher's Stone. So moving on to the next slide. So what North Korean leadership has banned in recent news, it was very much popular in the memes also, and it was a topic of discussion among the political arena. So this is basically what you will see in the next slide. So this is laughing was banned in North Korea in those 10 days. So this was a very dictating thing from him. So we can move on to the next question. So this was a pretty crackable question. Earl was the inventor of something that is X, and it was used when her wife cut or burned herself. So what is this? Let's move to the next slide. So this is actually Band-Aid. It is a pretty common thing. You must have cracked it. So moving on to the next question. So this is pretty recent thing, and what Joe Biden was talking about in the 20 years of American valor and sacrifice, he was talking about. Let's move to the next slide. he was talking about the end of 20 years of war in Afghanistan. So you pretty well know this. It is very common, and the Taliban take over and everything. So moving on to the next question. So I'm not gonna read it again. So this is basically let's move to the answer slide of this question. So the author whom we are talking about is Joseph Heller, and the novel we are talking about is Catch 22. So this is what we are looking for. If you gave this answer in the format, then we will accept it. Moving on to the next slide. So rasagola is a sweet thing, and the problem that happens when you eat too much sweet is the thing we were looking for, is the ironical fact about this question. So the next slide is what the answer is. Moving on to the next slide, it is World Diabetes Day. Diabetes is a disease which happens when you eat too much sweet things. So rasagola is a very sweet item. So this is what ironical. So moving on to the next slide. So the iconic Bollywood legend with a deep baritone voice, whose father writes poems, it is very crackable. We were talking about none other than the legend Amitabh Bachchan, who is presented in the next slide. We were talking about Amitabh Bachchan. So moving on to the next slide. So this is a wordplay question. The answer also is very crackable if you do a little pun with the fact that monkey attack, monkey. So this is what broadcasted by the government. It is actually, we are talking about monkey bath. This is the answer that we were looking for. This was a jibe by the opposition government. So moving on to the answer slide, what they were referring to. Let's move to the answer slide. What they were referring to is monkey bath. So monkey bath is streamed by the government, and thus the opposition party took a dig by this whole event. This is what we were looking for. So moving on to the next question. So the word we were talking about, Tarantino period, and this is the whole thing that we were living in. I gave it as hint. So you can crack the word easily. So let's move to the answer slide. Let's see what the word is. So this word is none other than quarantine, and we are quarantined for 2 years, and we hope that the college reopens soon and we all see you in the college, and the things of the beauty of quizzing is only at that moment also only. So moving on to the next question. So this is you have to name the war. Okay, you have to name the war which started from a sweet shop. So I for the sweet thing I also mentioned that what pizza is for Italy. This is something which is for France. So let's see what the answer is. So we were talking about pastry war. Pastry is a very popular thing in France. So that is that was something which was demolished, and hence it came to be known as pastry war. So moving on to the next question. So two moons of Mars, Phobos and Deimos, were discovered in 1877 by astronomers. So we asked about a novel, right? So for a hint, I said that this novel is quite popular in the school days. So from that, many of you must have cracked it. So let's see what the answer to this question is. So moving on to the answer slide. So this is Gulliver's Travels. So this is what we were looking for, and I'm sure that especially the CBSE students must have read this novel in their school days. So moving on to the final question of this general prelim set. So we were looking for a word which shares its name with a Norse warrior also. It shares its name with an anime also, and the literal meaning of this word is wild and frenzied. So you may have also heard it in some commentary also, like audience have gone X. So what X is, what happened to you after knowing the answer also. So let's move to the answer slide. So this is berserk. So we were looking for the word. So this marks the end of our grand quizzing week GQW generals prelims, and I would like Anirban sir to take over from here.
Okay, so we'll get started with correcting the answers and we'll get back to you with the results. of the top 8 teams that will make it to the finals. The finals will probably start at about 7:30 p.m. So till then, stay tuned.
Okay, thank you very much for attending the quiz.
So we'll stop the live stream now, right?